Okay, 7 o'clock, call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Whalen.
Yes.
DeShano.
Here.
Eddie here. Slander.
Here.
Campbell. Here.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. I would like to add the Cucahoan Township Transparency Resolution. Probably should have put it on before closed session. Just my guess.
Second with copies.
Well, it's added. You want to vote first? It's already seconded.
You have to vote, Hanson.
When it comes to the cemetery, if we can have some conversation in reference to the pricing on the columbariums. The grafts will just help to assist us in that, and then we can go from graft to more permanent. And the water. You and I have talked about water in the cemetery. We got that one piece fixed. He's gonna winterize, but it's money, so we should have that discussion. Something we have to pay for every single year, but it's something that should have a discussion. Okay.
Are we just adding that to B, Charlie?
Yes.
Water.
Yeah.
And are we doing the transparency to C and appendix case to D?
Yes. I think that would work best.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Just 3 more copies.
Okay, public input, agenda items only, 2 minutes. Public input. Public input. Okay, new business, gates for Township Park.
I had a question, just so we don't have to go backwards. I was under the understanding that we had to have bids if it was over 500. Am I wrong? I know we can pick whoever we want out of the bids, but I didn't know if that was correct or not correct. Same with you, Charles. When you talked, you thought it would be less than 500. That's when I said, hey, if it's less than 500, I don't even know.
2,500, I think we put up for the one gate.
It's a good price. It's a great price. But like when we had talked about it too, I didn't know if we gave Bay Farm the chance to, because he donated that work out in the lot, and he does all ours. So I didn't. If it's not going to cause problems in the future, it's a great price. So Bay Farms is usually, if I get 2 at Hoyt, it was 7, 8, but they both doubles. So but I don't want to cause any problems if we're going to be consistent.
Well, Eric is an employee of the township, so I would think we would want to err on the side of caution so it doesn't appear as though it's favoritism. I mean, if we have other bids, then it's a fair bid process.
What's
right?
he do for us besides?
He's a fireman.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
And he did us the favor. Did he charge us when we did the bleachers? Or did he do us a favor? Well, if he did a favor, that would help you more than that. So this runs into the same thing you said with the sequencing.
The wrench for these numbers, these were previously approved when the whole cemetery was laid out. It has not happened.
Yeah, Yeah, so if that was that you couldn't find the past meeting where they got approved, like, do we have to prove it again if we had, or they already approved it once, it just didn't get done?
You got it, and not only did it not get done, when the cemetery was laid out, it was supposed to be all numbered out. Never happened. And Sam kept saying, I'll take care of it. And I'll take care of it. And we went through 3 years of I'll take care of it. The same 3 years of I'll move the water line that was in the middle of the graves, and still didn't happen. And we paid Coakley's over $8,000 to put those lines in. And they were told to go move it, and they never did. Because personally, they had no idea what they were doing. They can't read and print in order to put it right in the center.
Well,
So-
we're sliding a little too much into B, so hold on here.
Well, I'm just
So-
explaining the Lynch thing.
Yeah, I get
And,
it. But I think Brian raises a bigger point, which is, you know, what is our line going to be when it comes to just individual bids? When we don't have any kind of.
I mean, I want the
secondary.
gates. I want the gates bad, but I just don't want to have to come back and do the gates again. Or individual. That's what I don't want to happen.
Motion to table the gates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cemetery grave numbers, price sheet.
Back, Charles,
Brad.
is there no one that can make these in Michigan? Is it really, am I looking at it wrong? These guys are from Oklahoma?
They actually don't come from Oklahoma.
They have a base here?
They actually came, the pins come out of Ohio, and the other come out of, was not Oklahoma. They were manufactured as these would be manufactured specific to us. Now, we could actually order blank plates, and we can spend several $1,000s and make our own, and that's why the decision was made, we're not making our own, because I'm not buying blank plates and getting into that.
Well, you wouldn't have to buy it, us as a board would have to buy it, Charles.
Well, I wouldn't spend my money, so I won't spend township.
But I'm just
money on something
asking,
like
is
that.
there anybody in Michigan that does cemetery
You know,
clearing?
Actually, that's a really good point, so I'm going to bring that up.
Okay.
I've invested hundreds of hours,
Volunteer hours,
volunteer hours, you're right,
yes.
and my company's money into making sure this cemetery takes place and that things were done and done appropriately. A trustee's salary does not cover the countless hours and dollars that have been invested in this. So, my thing, like I said in our last meeting, people are welcome to look at other cemetery records, just like I do, to come up with a price structure. They're welcome to look for stainless steel round pins, X inches around with X size numbers on them, just like I did. And because you know what? We're equals. There's 5 trustees sitting here. And you know what? We moved forward. We worked very beautiful on getting everything done that's done to date. And I have no problem. We did it, and that's something we all accomplished. But you know what? At this point, we got to start looking at how are we going forward? Because there's not enough of me to go around.
Okay, Charlie.
Period. I'm done. You say whatever you want.
Charlie, this is the same company that we got markers 1 through 80.
Correct.
That was just what, like 2 weeks ago?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. 2 weeks
Now
ago.
it's 81 to 170.
It's
and that
like
completes
generic,
it.
or are they kind of specific as far as how they look?
They're specific to what we want.
Okay, so, but I'm saying, if we got prices from other places, would they be visually different than 1 through 80?
They're not specific to what I want, so don't use we, because I don't know, we use aluminum out at ours or stainless, but they tarnish, but it's specific to what you want. And why did we buy some last 2 weeks ago, 1 to 80, and just not purchase these?
It's really quite simple. Because when it came out to getting everything marked,
Yeah.
okay, there's north and there's south, and then there was an additional.
And this has to, how many of our sections are over full to where this is opening up the new section, right?
It's already been opened. That's
I know
the
that.
problem.
Well,
This office
you can't
started selling
change,
sections.
you can't change what has
Before we
happened.
got here, and
But
it's,
if the sections aren't there, you can't typically sell them in them out further.
Well, if I understand, the problem is people are wanting to buy them and they're not marked, so towns
Yeah.
have to figure out what's available and where it's at.
And like I said,
That
again,
depends.
I'm not
Yeah.
against it.
Yeah,
But, like I said, if it's $2,500, I don't even know why we're discussing it. You come back with a single one. But I thought, and this is my ignorance, because you like the rules. You always let us know the rules.
I have no problem with
And you're always right. So that's why I said if it was on a past vote, you have been consistently. I'm not taking that away from you. But if this was on a past vote, we could easily just with that.
Transparency.
What did we buy on the last? How much did that cost 2 weeks ago?
$650 with a couple pennies.
Okay.
and it was, so that was
650, 180.
more.
I'm not. It's not even the. Like I said, I'm just trying. I
So
want
the
us to be consistent.
650 was based on the previous passing of the board last year before this board took over, is that correct?
No.
No, last year.
They approved.
If you go in the cemetery, here's the deal.
Oh.
We hired Apex, it'll be a condensed version. Apex goes steel rods in the ground.
Yep.
So we have steel rods in the ground, which is okay. It is okay. There's only one problem. There's no numbers on. And it goes back to when I first got on the board and we had people in graves that weren't marked in the E because the previous sexton had changed everything. When this was laid out, everything was to be numbered. Everything was approved. It didn't happen. Like several other items in our cemetery, they weren't the top priority. You were in our meetings. So, you know,
It was a long-term process to do section
Yeah,
F. Yeah,
cemeteries are hard. They're not easy, and not a lot of people know them. So you got to understand that too. When you get questions, you live out there. I'm sorry, but you do. And historically, what I've picked up in 15 years of working next to a cemetery is typically you don't open a section up until you start filling up. It's because always someone wants to be over in the left corner of that section. I want those two, period. When it's not done or it's not irrigated or it's not that, and then they sneak in and then they build up rocks around it and plant trees and then they take over. So typically, from what I know about history, is if the ones just got opened up, let's start selling those. And I was crazy when I looked at Oklahoma. I thought it said Muskegon. And I was like, okay, Muskegon. Then I looked and I thought Oklahoma, and I said, son of a bitch, there's got to be someone in Michigan that does this. And you've already dealt with them. I get you. But this is something that gets buried and drove over, and you need a metal detector to find in old sections. You never see them again. So to say they need to match isn't true. At Brady Hill, we can only find a third of them. But we got people in there from the 1700s.
Well, we're just trying to make sure, just like in Section D recently, when we had to go find graves for Mr. Gibson, and those pins were easily findable, they were not rotted,
Yep.
and these are identical pins to what were used when we marked D and E, and so...
So Mr. Gibson's buried in D or E?
D.
Okay.
He is, and so is another person, but I can't remember that
I've been dealing
person.
with a lot of D lately.
You know,
I think Tom's,
D doesn't have much left in it to be able to sell off, so,
but I do think Tom's doing a good job with,
Oh, we don't have any real complaints. I'm not complaining.
you know,
I'm just trying to follow our standard procedure.
yeah.
Because like I said, up until now, it was brought up every time it happens that it's going to be $500 and we get bids or we put it in the penny thing. But like I said, when I talked to Brad about it, I was like, and I knew this guy and I knew it was a great price, but like I said, they both helped us out huge with the park this year. Him and Bay Farms. So when Charles, go sheet money.
well, it's just from top to bottom. The largest piece is on the top piece of your page. The bottom piece of that, when we were talking about prices, I did get a price, and the printing was going to end up running us approximately $600.
Printing
On the door.
On all the doors of this specific columbarium.
$600 a piece
Yeah,
for each.
it's
Like
$450.
actual people information.
Yeah, for each double.
It's $450, and then when the people die, to add the death date, it's $150. So, if he comes out and everything's done in sequence, it's not an issue. But as we're trying to figure our prices, I believe the bottom row should actually be at about 2,500. We were talking before 2,300. It's going to be a little bit more money than we anticipated, so.
To pay for the engraving.
Yeah, and if we're trying to stick with, you know, and I've talked to 4 different funeral homes in reference to this to make sure that we are all in the same, you know, place. We can do everything to when it's sold to you, your name's on it, your birth date's on it and all that. We open it, we close it, you pay for your final death dates. We could go that route because most funeral homes always charge the family for their last death dates. There's a problem with that. And the problem is, then you end up with half a dozen different engravers coming in, and the doors don't all match. And when this gets all
No,
established,
technically, they don't have to match. It's their property after that. I know you want them to, but
well,
they're paying $2,500 for a piece of stone. If they want to put a smiley face on it in their death date, that's $2,500 for that piece of stone. And I hate to say it that way, but that would kind of deter me.
well, I think
I know you want uniformity, but think about people individually. What if they use Jerusalem text and you wanted Old English on yours?
well, actually, I just went to a cemetery in Rochester, and 100% is exactly the same.
Okay.
Because when you buy it, you see this rubber mat that we've already had made, and I had it at the weekend event next door, and actually, it's in my vehicle. Before we leave, then I'll show it to you. So anyway, the moral of the story is, you just show the person, this is how we'll have your name engraved. If you're a veteran, we'll put a veteran. If you want Mary, we'll put Mary. You want Joseph, we'll put Joseph, and you're allowed a medallion, and that's part of what this would have been. So,
But that's $600.
that comes out of the,
$2,500.
Out of the 2,500.
And then we gotta pay, you know, we pay an open and a close price. So you're gonna pay,
And what's that?
well, our open and close is minimum $250.
For a casket? Or is that for a
Niche.
$375.
No, that's
no for an urn?
an urn.
$100 for a photo.
So you have to keep that in mind. And the reason you keep that in mind is because we don't have a full-time sexton. We have a sexton that drives there, will arrange the sale, and goes home, digs the grave, buries the person. He don't get paid extra because he sold that grave. He don't get extra because he sold a cremation grave. You know, just so that everybody understands, because that's one of the biggest things when you look at these other cemeteries. They have full-time employees. We do not.
So if somebody calls him and wants to talk to him about buying a grave, is he scheduling an appointment with him, or is he like, I'm on my way? You know, I mean, is he trying to,
Well,
you know, put them into the time, well, I'm gonna be there tomorrow morning, I can meet you at 10?
he's going to be there tomorrow morning, but what you have to understand is, we say that you have to notify us 36 hours in advance.
Mm-hmm.
That was our problem last winter, and that's why the winter rate of digging, instead of going winter rate, you just take the rate up a little bit, and it's year-round, and it helps.
It washes.
Yeah, instead of somebody saying, are they on their winter rates or not right now? This way we automatically know, you know, that was roughly going to be around $11.50, but that's because we don't keep full-time people in there. And when you actually look at the graves that we're talking about, we just looked at one the other day, and they purchased it. I don't understand it. Greg didn't explain it well, because he didn't understand it exactly, and he told me that, and that's okay.
What?
Tax.
Tax?
They purchased it through tax. What does that mean? Does that mean they were allowed to pay payments? And I just had people ask, since, you know, these are niches, and they're not dead yet, could they pay this in 2 payments or 4 payments? Would we allow something like that? I mean, I'm just throwing at you.
No, we don't, that would bring us back to a staffing issue. And we aren't bankers.
And complications, the
Yeah.
more detailed.
Or if someone dies
the
before it's
streamlined
paid.
it is.
But see, that's not my place to say that.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
why I'm pointing that out here, that
Well,
I
there's-
actually Saturday had a lady ask me that could I pay this in 4 payments? I'll pay it within 6 months, a little bit out of each check. And then the cute part was, she owned 6 graves in the cemetery. She said, well, if I own 6 graves, my husband and I should go in one of them. I said, that's a great idea. And you know what? I have her name and number because I'm going to see if we might be able to. She has no reason for the rest of the graves. You know, and and then you have the perpetual care piece of this that you should be setting aside at least a couple $100 so that
cuts into the 25 too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that because of the fact that we're trying to put so much into, pay one price, it opens up a lot of other issues. I really think it needs to be thoughtful, and yes, we do need to worry about time here, but if we're going to start perpetual care, I mean, that's a whole different thing we have to up that we've never done before.
Well,
it's going to have to be sorted how it's actually put into those different accounts. We're going to have it somewhat standardized in order for that to work. There's a way to do that, but we don't want to launch it too quickly because we want to make sure that we're streamlined so we don't buy ourselves more problems on the foundation of already having a lot of problems. So you brought up some really good things. One thing I wanted to ask you, kind of throw back a little bit. You said $600 was engraving on the door, and then the death date, and then you said a medallion. Is the medallion included in the $600? Like they get it and they just get to their choice of
the veterans
ones?
medallions are always, and they epoxy those on. We will not drill those because of problems with trying to drill granite. And then, like the guy said, how many extra doors did you get? And I said, we have 6. He said, I tell you right now, you want to buy a few more? Because he says, you know what? All it takes, you got to take it off. It's winter. It slips. And then he said, that's why you put the suction cup. That's why you boom, boom, boom. And it's like, he said, I'm telling you in advance. Those panels supposedly are $35 a panel. He says, you want to have at least a dozen of them panels. He said, you got 212. What happens? Somebody goes to engrave and it gets messed up.
Excuse me. But is the medallion included in that, or is it a separate purchase? Or
the medallion comes through veterans, so it's covered whether it's US
Are we
Army,
only allowing
Navy, whatever.
veterans medallions?
No, because there are 3 sheets of other engravings that are considered customary, whether you're Jewish, whether you're a rabbi, whether you name it, whatever you are, there is actually a uniform 3 different pages. If you're Indian, and you want that rain dancer thing in the corner of it, that could be put on your door. Just because, we have a lot of different.
So I guess I'm a little confused. You're talking about engraving different things that they can choose different things they want to engrave, and then you're talking about medallions. Those are 2 different things, right? The
medallions are directly to military.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify. They couldn't do a Freemason, right? It would only be military. I mean,
A pterodactyl medallion.
What, where you're going with this?
I would have a pterodactyl medallion.
That's
Maybe a
really
reference.
fun. So that's what I'm curious about. Like, is that included in the price?
Or is
do they
this
have a
just for service?
specific? Yeah, that's what I don't
Bronze
understand.
medallions are military.
Okay.
Okay? When I went down and I have pictures of it, I didn't print them. I'm not going to print anymore at the house. I keep printing stuff. And so I cut that off because I'm not buying another toner. I'm just not. It's too expensive. These are black with white. But it showed where some people had USN put on their page versus the bronze medallion because they didn't want just veteran.
Yeah.
They wanted, so if the husband's name's first, you put the USN here, or in my case, U.S. Army, and it's initials only with the insignia, just like you'd put on like what's on your uniform. Same thing for Semper Fi Marine, whatever the case might be. And then
So does the engraver that does this, he's the one that's offering the medallion or the different designs, does he have some kind of a pamphlet or something that he shows people and says, what would you like and make it to choose that we could see?
We have pictures of the 3 pages.
Okay, all right. No, I just haven't seen them, so I'm just kind of curious how much we're offering them at that
I
price.
have pictures of 3 different pages of 3 different types of medallions.
Okay.
And truly, if somebody walked in and they said that they've been a part of the Masonic Temple forever, then they may put the Masonic insignia on the corner of their
Right.
specific piece,
Well, that's what I mean, but doesn't it get back to even if it turns into a writing thing, or I'm paying $600 and you got 3 extra letters, is it cheaper if I don't have extra letters or a medallion? That's what, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I like the uniform.
It's a very separate.
But I like the respecting the services too. But I don't think anybody should be able to put a walrus on it, just so you know.
I thought pterodactyl was still good.
And then I like the
There was no walruses or.
So, we got a lot of work to do on this.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And I'm working with my lady, she's putting a whole thing together for us at work. But just out of curiosity on our sexton, how many burials do we average a year?
$1 million question.
I know,
Well,
I could look it up.
We can look it up, but I mean, we have 7 full-time guys in 2 cemeteries and 1 calabarium and 2 more new spots opened up. But it's very rare we don't get a burial a day during the week. And they don't pay extra for. Yeah. But I'm just saying for workload, this is something to discuss. If we're drowning him, could he come in and talk to us?
Well, he would if you wanted to. I mean, he don't have a problem coming in. If we want to have a very specific meeting, cemetery period, we went through that 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago to where we all sat down and we all talked about this.
Well, we haven't heard, he does a great job. We haven't heard boo about him, so maybe we should get him in, and if he is crying, he needs a little help, maybe we can get him some assistance, or maybe we can figure something out, especially on the burials and stuff like that, because that's all big work.
Well, like right now, he's making sure the graves are marked with winter coming.
Yeah.
They got to be marked. And all the other cemeteries, they put the flags out, but he's trying to get these numbers out. He wants these numbered so there's no doubt somebody, if they're in 139 north, then they're buried in 139 north, and they don't accidentally end up in 129 north. And that's a bunch of the crap that happened in the past, to the point where people were buried in other people's graves. That's all we have to, and that's what we never want.
Well, that's
ever duplicate.
That's not specific to just us.
Yeah.
That does happen to us once or twice a year.
But I think that what happened 3.5 years or so, I'm just taking your time frame, was that we were having so many problems with it that we made this change with the sexton, and we had brought in, invoices for him to use, and there was a whole procedure, and it was spelled out to all the funeral homes, and I think over time it just got more and more lax, where we're not
different funeral
getting
homes are different needs.
procedure.
We have to have some
Yeah.
not even call our lady anymore. There's so many different.
So I think that it's just not as streamlined as we had tried to make it several years back, and, we just need to make sure that all the wheels are greased and they're going in the same direction, and I think that would probably be beneficial to have them come in and have that conversation, yeah.
So the water, Charlie, what do you want to do with?
Water, he got that, he got the line moved off of those graves. So the spigots and line was all trenched and moved to the south, so it's in the aisleway where it was supposed to be originally versus being right through that grave. So that's the water piece that's done. It's supposed to have cost us approximately $400 from what I understand. I hope and pray that that was an accurate analogy that he gave me. He figures where we had those 2 major blowouts when you and I were there, that we should put those basins in with the shut-off and a drain. He believes he can do those for about $200 each. Dig it out, put the basin in, so that end where we keep having problems with blowing out water lines, because when they try to, the whole system doesn't have a single drain anywhere, Brian, nowhere. And so with there not being a single drain anywhere, we had a 16-inch line that literally blew up. That's where that great big 275,000 gallon water leak came from. So
16-inch supply.
what?
A 16-inch supply line that blew up.
No, 16-foot
Oh,
section.
he did, yes, he did say 6 inches, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just a 16 inches of line that literally disintegrated
Well,
because it froze and it wasn't blowing out proper, and that's why we didn't call back.
Hopefully.
So I think that we should be having whoever does the cemetery also do the township.
Back here because of the problem in here.
Yeah,
The winterizing.
the winterizing. I
Yeah.
think we gotta try try something different, because we had 2 failures.
It costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Copper pipe, when you blow out copper pipe, you know you have a,
Yeah, they get trained well.
you know.
I'm just, we do 9 parks a year, bathrooms and everything, and then the worst thing we've had problems with is people not opening the sinks, and that was the water like a straw.
Isn't that what
And
happened at the
replace them.
concession stand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Concession.
so it's, you gotta have someone that is accountable if
Yeah.
you're gonna have them winterize it, because they can come back and do the insurance work.
Well, last
And
year,
we put thousands into, I put 108,000 to do a splash park that I got accused of, and I just followed the instructions, but it froze and the building heaved. So, hey, winterizing sucks. Michigan's mean. She's mean on pipe.
well, the one thing is, we don't know where any lines are in this cemetery. So now that we've had certain blowouts, that
Yeah.
tells us where the lines are.
And
So
they're not
let's-
very deep, right?
Oh, these lines aren't more than this deep under the ground.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be serviced. We're down to 1 cemetery with watering lines now. Now we supply buckets in a fill station up front, and they can bring it back, because it's cost us that much money. And on top of that, our guys digging them or driving over when it's wet and breaking them, and it was 100 years old.
Yeah.
So we went to fill stations, and they travel potable.
Yeah. Well,
It's a very expensive thing to keep on a cemetery, especially one that's part-time maintained.
I think from what, out of the cemetery, funeral homes that were discussed in reference to the cemetery, back when we got complaints, the very first thing that were said by David Luzak was, "I am not complaining about the sexton, and I want that crystal clear." I said, "Really?" He says, "Our cemetery, compared to so many others, looks really good." It's like, well, thank you.
That's big words for him, considering the history.
Compared to 40 years ago,
Yeah, exactly.
that is
That's big
like
words.
gold. So anyway,
All right, so what are we, for the cemetery line item here, the grave numbers, price sheet, the water, which is an update on, what do we need to vote on this line? Are we voting on grave numbers, or are we waiting? And
Well, I
I
did-
don't think we're ready on the price sheet from what I'm hearing.
We're not ready on the
Discussion.
price sheet for
No.
anything, especially, we just added another 100 variables.
I would think the 2 basins at about $200 a basin. So for winterizing, and then to give,
Do we know the winterization cost?
he's figuring between 3 and 4.
When does
He's
it,
not sure what other surprises he's going to get.
when does it have to be done? I mean, do we have time to wait until the November meeting?
Yeah, a couple weeks. He'd like to get it done.
Because that's
We'd
what
like to
November
get these
10th.
one pieces done, you know, and we don't know.
Until our sexton's gonna be our winterizer. Understand?
No,
That's-
it's-
we got
This
them
is
out.
Zach from Little Corners.
Oh,
Zach from the.
Well, he's got the sprinkler company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so far, I'll tell you what, you can't even tell where he put the line in, Brian. You went in there, he did an excellent job. He trenched it,
They're
so
amazing.
that it was nice and clean. And I truly was very impressed, because I walked up, and that's when I finally saw where he did it.
So yeah,
So,
we already got ours. We do ours tomorrow.
okay.
We're blowing it, so.
But we're
It has to be
basically
done.
doing it on it's gonna be about this much.
Yes, well, 400 for the cemetery, and can we separate the dugout then? Do that on a different line item?
Well, it would automatically
Yeah,
be,
a different
Yeah.
address anyways.
yeah. But I mean, that's technically under the limit of grave concern, I guess.
Yes, well, and like I said, I'm not trying to cause
Yeah.
a problem. I'm
No,
trying
I don't
to,
think so.
because the minute it happens, it turns around and we're doing it again.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure. So what are we doing on the grave?
Can you give me till November's? I'm gonna get with a lady. Please.
yeah, I know Tom's out there trying to get it done, but yeah.
Okay.
Because as they get breaks, that's how they try to make sure the work is getting accomplished.
You're talking about the numbers.
Tom's talked with me about this since day one of us taking.
Well, I was really
office.
hoping it was voted on, and it
I-
was just,
It was,
It
well,
was.
we knew. The same as when the survey took place. Everything was
well,
supposed
and
to
it
be
was
done.
wrapped in the whole thing, so let's vote on it. If it was voted, you guys,
I think it'd be best to get it done.
okay. Let's vote on
So
it.
I'll make a motion to purchase the numericals, markers 81 through 170, and the invoice quote for Lynch Supply for the cemetery.
Can we renumber their quote number just for the fun of it?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Ask for 669, please.
What
are the odds?
What's the,
Thanks, Charles.
Well, you know what, we're gonna
I'll
just say,
second the motion.
just put our zip code up there, okay? 4863.
Slander,
Yes.
Eddie, yes, DeShane,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Okay, the winterization, I make a motion, you know Zach's company's name?
No, just you just use Zach's name. That's all I would do.
What's his name? What was it with that?
Just,
Zach and Heidi,
it's, just a second.
bad, my buddy's with him.
Give me 1 second. We'll just, get that name for you right now.
The point.
The point?
Yep,
There's that good point.
POINTE. For the winterization of the cemetery grounds, and do we need to do the two, since we're hiring him for both at the cemetery, the two basins for $200?
Well, you know what? Since we're approving money, I think that would probably be a good idea.
Okay, for the two basins, for winterization, to hire Zach LaPointe
At the cemetery.
at the cemetery.
Do we have a dollar amount on that we look
Not
at?
to exceed $800. Do we need to include the previous four from the moving of the other? It was already approved, but just so there's how we move them.
No, it's already done. It's already done. It was previously approved.
And it's 400.
Yes.
It's already
I would say
been
that's,
discussed so that
could
everybody
almost be
knows.
construed as
So I'll
maybe.
Yes.
second the winterization grounds in the two basins not to exceed $800.
Okay, roll call vote. Whalen,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Slander,
Yes.
DeShane,
Yes.
Eddie, yes. So can we add a motion to hire Zach LaPointe for winterization of the township park?
Second that.
Okay, roll call vote.
Can you get a number on that?
Not to exceed $400.
Yeah,
This over here is a little more tricky because we're not
yeah, for
quite.
sure.
It's a
Didn't
long
work very
line.
well last year.
It's different when you have the faucets
Who
and the
seconded?
toilets.
Who?
I seconded.
Thank you.
Roll call vote. Whalen,
Yes.
DeShane,
Yes.
Slander,
Yes.
Eddie, yes, Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, are we done with the cemetery?
Yeah.
Guess you gave me to November. I'll get some stuff to you start tomorrow, Charles. Get to us.
No problem. I figured this gave everybody just a pretty simple way to figure how they laid out. Because when they go in the book over there, they're gonna be pretty much this page times 8, front and back, because that'll be one side of it and the other. And then as Tom sells them, he will put names in these.
Yep.
Because that way, and then this office will have a copy of the same identical thing. And,
I'm still wondering if at some point in this discussion, we're gonna need to do an ABCD to at least have some idea which is which.
Well, I was thinking about
page
page
page 1, you mean each of the units?
I mean, like physically at the cemetery, ABCD, so you know which is.
We were talking about that, not the Roman numerals, but you could also epoxy a number to the ground next to it, to the concrete, if you wanted to. Or we could epoxy them around instead of engrave them.
We can have A, B, C, D etched in the back each of these because it faces that cemetery road. But that was just another way.
Yeah.
And the way the whole thing is laid out when you come in
It's gonna have to be
sidewalk,
hard.
Yeah, there's gonna have to be
That's gonna
something,
be a
there's gonna
totally
be
different
confusion.
beast.
I get that.
Yeah.
But when you walk in off the sidewalk to Columbarium, that is A. That is B. That is C. That is D. Center is E. And then when it comes from top to bottom, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that's how every cemetery does it.
Well, I don't think
A,
anybody has a
B,
disagreement
C,
about that
D.
that's how they do it. I think it's just for, consistency, so everybody
Well,
walking out there knows, oh,
you gotta
where's
be-
that? Oh, he's in B over there,
That's not a problem doing that
Okay.
to mark the ends. I figured we just got done spending $80,000. I don't want to ask for $2,000 to get fancy when, guess what? We haven't sold one yet.
No, I get that. I just
I
wanted to
figured once
mention-
we sell a couple, we bring in, if the 5 people that say they want them, buy them, then to spend a couple thousand's okay.
It's a little bit easier, you're right.
Okay, are we done with cemetery? Okay. The next one is going to be Buckland Township Transparency Resolution. After reading this, it makes sense on why we're having this meeting tonight, the special meeting, as Tom Landa called me last week. I think it was Thursday or Friday, and said it sounded like I was being accused of not furnishing information to you all. He assured, he's our attorney for the insurance company.
Litigation.
He said that he assured the person who called that there was no communications between me and him. But I'm being looked at for, there was none. He said, I don't know where this is coming from, Brad, but there's other things that I think need to be stated in closed session on this. There's definitely, Tom will swear that I have done everything he has asked, and I have not talked to him. Just the last week. But he said that he could tell the person who called was accusing me of not sharing information, and that's not true. I've shared everything with you guys. So, I'm making that fact. They had the owner of the law firm ready to take the call for the closed session when we moved to closed session.
Okay.
I would like to, I feel that a lot of this attacks the special assessment district also, as Brian, you yourself asked Laura to show up at all these meetings, and I agree that she should have. But I look at this as targeting some of the legal coverage that we were needing to get that special assessment district done and done correctly. I think that the Buckland Township Transparency Resolution can be tabled till it's worded in a fair, legitimate manner that has truthful facts to it. Because I take offense to this. I have, and Tom said, he goes, Brad, I can tell there's something going on there. Yeah, there is. So
would you agree that the budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year for legal is nearly exhausted?
and a lot of that exhausted is suing for all of the special assessment district stuff. That is, would you not agree, Mr. Shano, that is where majority of those funds are?
No, I actually don't agree. We had budgeted $25,000 this year, keeping that in mind. The second whereas clearly states that the budget was increased for 25-26 by approximately 150% above what it was the previous year. In addition to that, we have not seen any bills for Foster Swift since July. So even though we're almost exhausted halfway through, there's no bills that were paid for August or for September. They were not on the list to be paid. There's nothing that has left that account to pay those bills until September 3rd.
I haven't gotten any that I've done.
Yeah, and we put 10,000 into the lawsuit. So it's at 14 or 15.
It
We
already
still
is.
haven't got 2 months.
And
If we take out the 10,000 that we put into the,
But the account, we
For
allotted
all the-
25,000, and there is $600 left in that account still. That's it, $600 out of 25,000. Yes, 10,000 went to the one attorney, but we're missing 2 months of bills.
Yeah.
To get us even to the halfway point, and there's nothing.
What's it been averaging a
They're
month?
not billing me, how can I?
They would be 10,000.
What do we average a month? Can you remember?
Yeah, but I have those. I have the ones that are highlighted and everything. The ones that say the stat on them and everything.
I've seen
I got
Charlie
those
with them,
out
too, 'cause
of
you put it back
the-
after you're done.
Yeah.
They were in the bill. The only stuff I saw, I don't remember seeing, supposedly there's a big bill that came in, and I was looking at that bill, I thought, but I didn't see it in our bill approval this month. I didn't see a Foster Swift check
The
go out
last
this
payment
month.
was September 3rd.
And that one was supposedly that big one that included, because we had 3 separate, no, that one would have included the first one when,
You've been keeping all of those with the highlights of
Yes.
everything for the, is that why?
No, I have not mixed up or taken out of, if anything that gets printed off or any bills that come in, I put right in that says bills. I take that whole stack, it all gets inputted, and it goes to bills to be approved. Now, I don't have chain of custody on this thing. It does go around, and people do come in my office and touch my bills regularly. And when I'm not even in the office.
Yeah, this is
So,
happened.
if we need to create a chain of custody, I'm down for that. I'm all for that.
Well, if they were printed at some point, they must have arrived by email, so surely those emails still exist, right?
Correct.
Then yes,
So-
there would be a record that I can produce.
So, I mean, where are the August and September bills? I mean, can somebody print them off? So we can
I
see
do
them?
know that, Charlie, you were looking through them as well as Kayla for the
Last
cost of
bills
the
I looked
special
at
assessment
were
district.
sitting right in there on the back desk. The last paperwork I looked at is sitting in the clerk's office on, I call it the back desk, because she has her desk, Greg has his, and there's the back desk. And if I did not go through it, it's still sitting there, and if I went through it, it's back in the file drawer. Because that is protocol, and that is how it was to be done. The trustees had every legal right to look at the bills without question and without hesitation, because that is the number one fiduciary responsibility of Brian and I.
But what we're getting at is, did you misplace them?
I didn't take anything out of nothing.
Because
I
we've had problems. I mean, Dennis just went through. He's got files missing out of a vanilla folder that was on his desk. And
I haven't
stuff
been
this
in there.
week. I noticed things moved around. There's definitely been somebody in my office, but I want to know if there's any way that these bills were put somewhere. I guarantee you they're
Are
coming.
they mailed and emailed? Or are they just
No.
emailed?
Just email.
Just
Where do they
email.
go through in an email?
I think it-
Both of us. And we
Okay.
both print them out, and then every month I have to go through and be like, are these the 2 same invoice numbers? Are these the 2 same
I'll
invoice
get 2
numbers?
different
So
invoices.
So they're not missing, even if they were missing, they come to you
No,
guys.
they're not missing.
they're not missing.
They're not, what's the last
So
one?
if I need
There's one
to
last
go
one.
in there right now and produce them, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is this solves that problem. This solves that problem. The absolute, there is no joking about the absolute lack of trust in this group. There is, it's completely apparent. It's out there every day. This solves that. So no one can ever say, well, I thought, he said, she said. It says, it goes to the board, everybody on the board, the email. And then no more would you have to argue about someone touching your stuff. But furthermore, I've said this, no one should be in your office, or your office. Those are your guys's.
Agree.
So,
I'll sit here all day, I'll take a lie detector test, I ain't been in nobody's office.
I'm just
Except when
saying,
they're here.
but I'm just saying, those are your guys' personal workspaces. So we're this close to getting the cameras. So that's going to completely stop if someone's doing it. But and I'm not saying anything walking out or Greg's pooping. I'm just saying stuff happens. But this makes it so no one can ever come back and say, "Wait a minute, I didn't hear about A, B, or C."
This is an accusation, though, on this. I mean, Tom Landa called me to tell me, he goes, something's not going good, I'm good, and he goes, I think it's drama. And he goes, I can tell you, Brad, I know you've done everything I've asked you to do to your board and shared every correspondence.
Yeah, she had corrected me on the, I thought we were, oh, I can't see anything from my, let's close session, sorry, I'm stupid. That's for that, but it is, it's exactly what we need to stop this argument.
Just for understanding this, right? Just for the sake of understanding this and playing like devil's advocate for myself, right? What if I am trying to post a resolution like that energy ordinance or something, right? Am I going to have to, and when we do that, should I then make a motion then at that time to be able every single time, like we do a resolution like that, I should say like, okay, so now that we've passed this resolution because of the township transparency resolution, I need all of you guys to vote to say that I can call because I'm unsure about something in this energy resolution.
But then it's a yay or nay and it's checked.
Right, but I'm
There's
saying
no repeat.
I'm just trying to understand.
I don't. No, and that's what that's what I think it means is no one has to ask anybody from the lawyer stuff anymore. We're constantly fighting over the lawyer stuff.
No, that's not.
See, I'll tell you what, I'll go back to last year, because Sherry was new. Sherry would call me on the phone, and she'd say, Charlie, are you around? I'd say, why, what's up? She says, I got some questions, I need you to stop by. And she'd have some bills, and we'd take a look at them, and if it was a problem, then we called Smith & Brooker. Because she wasn't allowed to just call Smith & Brooker. But the catch was, when she asked me that question, I said, no, Sherry, we talked about that, and that was talked about in the last meeting. That's why that blue book of mine, or purple book, whatever you want to call it, looks thick, because I keep the minutes of the last meeting, or in our case right now, with the last two meetings in there. So then, if you said to me, what the heck is going on, Sherry used to do it all the time. She used to call up and say, you know, I don't recollect this. Did this happen? Can I pay this bill? Was this approved or not? And I'd say, you know what? That was approved. Or I need to talk to Justin. It's like, okay, then up you over. We'll call Justin up and we'll get your answer. No big deal.
I think that it can be as things like that, but are more complicated. Most things are not as complicated as the special assessment district was. Most things are pretty much already a template that is used for a publication. So the point here is that the board is actually directing the expenditure of the funds for legal as we're directed to do to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. So, and that there is a procedure that is followed for how the lawyer is contacted and how everybody is notified about what happened during that contact. And as such, I would like to make a motion to approve the Cucahoga Township Transparency Resolution.
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Eddie, no. DeShano,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Schlander,
No.
Whalen.
Yes.
Okay, motion to go into closed session
I'll make that
at
motion.
7:54.